A lot of people ask me what got me into working out, so I'm going to cover that topic in this video. It started when I was 8 years old and I was watching Wipeout, which is the show where with those huge red balls and people try. If you know the show, you know the show. And there were a lot of weird contestants on that show. And one of the guys that was on the show had lost a lot of weight, I think. So he had a lot of loose skin, a lot of really stretchy skin. And he looked pretty weird. And my sister was like, "Will, you look like that." And I thought she was joking. And then they just kept joking. Like my sister and my dad were joking, and I thought they were serious. So um, I went up to my room and I started doing sit ups. And very quickly, I would do twisting sit ups, regular sit ups. Very quickly, I got to where I could do two consecutive songs straight of sit ups, and I wanted to do ab workouts every day. I'd ask my dad, I was like, "Can I do these every day?" And he's like, "Just take a day of rest in between." So I would do that. And at 8 years old, I took my shirt off and people saw I had abs. And I was known for having abs at 8. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And, and yeah, so whenever my abs were really defined, my sister told me, she said, "I was making fun of you. You never had that loose skin or anything like that the whole time." So that took away my motivation for that. And we had these tests called presidential fitness tests where you would do the mile, shuttle run, pull ups. So I would train for only like a week or two ahead for the mile and for pull ups, which if you train for 1 to 2 weeks, it's not going to help you significantly. But I was already so athletic, or would already had the records. It just pushed it a little bit more to where they were even better because I had things like soccer, which helped with my endurance, and I was just naturally good at pull ups. So I would get the pull up records, and I would, in third grade, I set the all time mile record, not just the mile record for that year. But after that, I would always set the records or um, for the mile and the pull up, and we'd have a top time for the shuttle run and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And once I started middle school, it was the same sort of thing. I was hunched over, um, and you know how your stomach wrinkles whenever you do that. So my dad reached back and he poked my stomach. My dad was always in really good shape, and could always see his abs and everything like that. And he's like, "You're putting on a little fat." And I was like, I'm hunched over. Everybody has like wrinkles in their stomach when they do that." And he's like, "I don't." And he's like, "I didn't when I was younger." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then my sister, how she was at the time, she just started making fun of me. This might sound like my sister and dad were terrible people. They genuinely weren't. Like they're amazing people. My sister, like growing up, is like a sibling thing where we'd make fun of each other, but no, they're like great people. These are just examples of the story. They're really kind, loving individuals. I just want to get that out of the way. So yeah, my sister's like, "Yeah, well, blah blah blah." She was a little obnoxious at the time, and I was like, "Huh." I didn't like fully believe him, but it was enough for me to think. And then I was hanging out with my friends, are going down to, and there are these tall bushes, and they're over there, and I was like, "I want to hear what they're talking about." And they said, "Will's getting fat." And my friend had a brother named Will as well, so I wasn't sure if they were talking about me or the brother. But that Will was genuinely getting fat. But after what happened a little bit ago with my dad and my sister, I didn't want to take any risk. And I was like, this is embarrassing. So I started drilling sit ups, started going crazy with sit ups. And the first time I did it, I did like low 60s because I think my sister did 60. So I just did a little bit more to beat her. And the next time I did 100. She's like, "You're not going to be able to keep up with that." I was doing hundreds of sit ups consecutively, twisting sit ups, regular sit ups consecutively, and beating how many I could do in 5 minutes. It was, and I saw that I was always the second fastest on my team. As soon as I started doing that, I became the fastest. And I think it's because my abs and my hip flexors got stronger from doing the sit ups. Um, and I really liked that. And also, my abs were showing. If my soccer jersey got wet, people could see my abs through my jersey. And when you're in middle school, people could see your abs. It's a big deal. And I could do a backflip. So it was like, it was crazy, which was funny. But I saw the results of working out. And I hated that feeling of thinking I was getting fat, whether I was or not. I hated the feeling of that. And I really liked life and the attention I got from being in shape. So I was like, I never want to go back. And also, I saw how my body was changing, the PRs I was hitting, and I became addicted to those. So I was doing insane ab workouts. I remember I would hold this leg hold like this, where you hold your feet just 6 inches above the ground. My sister's like, there's something called a hollow hold that's harder. So you do a crunch and you hold your feet up. And it was a new exercise, so it was hard for me. But eventually, what I would do is I would add 25s at my feet. Now, the farther something is from your hips, the more difficult it is. So I'd put it at my feet and at my neck, like that, and I would hold that for at least 3 minutes, up to 5 minutes at times. And yeah, I was doing these really crazy ab workouts, uh, drilling pull-ups. I started adding squats in there, but it would never last long because I'd do hundreds of squats and my knees would hurt, which was tendonitis. I didn't know what overtraining was really. I would watch these NFL documentaries, something like Herschel Walker, to where he was bullied and would do thousands of push-ups and sit-ups every day, and just became one of the best athletes, and like 240 lean and all kinds of crazy stuff. I tried that and got tendonitis and overtrained. It didn't work like that necessarily for me. Um, but I was willing to do anything, and I would see these documentaries of these players when they were younger and copy their workouts, stuff like that, because that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be like, a professional athlete. Um, then once I got to high school, a lot of traumatic stuff happened in my life all at one time. Death, family splitting up, breakup, all in a short time, and I became very isolated. But what I had, instead of doing the calisthenics, I started lifting. I remember I got a gym membership on my 15th birthday, and that week there was a lot of schoolwork or something. So I was like, I'm gonna really dial in on my schoolwork. And school was always first, working out was second at that time. Then it switched. As soon as I started lifting, it was lifting first, school second. And I became obsessed. And I said, this is what I want to do. I liked it more than any sport by far. I said, this is what I want to do. And since I had nobody at the time, before I liked the aspect of having teammates, and now I do again. I really like it a lot. And strategy, all sorts of stuff with sports. But at that time, with all that happened to me, I said, I like something to where I'm alone and I can make progress alone. And I trained like a dog. And I didn't take a sip of alcohol all high school. I didn't go to a single party because I said, this is what I'm going to do. I don't have anything, but I have this. I want to make my life out of this. I started training my first client when I was 16. I didn't know what business was. I didn't know how to get paid. It was for $5 an hour. And he would, because he worked at Jack in the Box, he might have been able to pay me more, but I didn't know my worth. I thought $5 was a lot, but I also felt underpaid at the same time. He would run a mile. I'd tell him what foods to eat, nutritious whole foods, and he would do it. I pushed him super hard. He made insane results. It was like he was known as the fat kid at school, and while we were training together, he had abs showing and veins showing in his back, certain things like that he never thought he'd see. And his face, became aesthetic and everything because he lost all the face fat. People were at school like, man, you see David? Who is that? And he had a confidence he never had before. And I would bring my laptop to school and study training and Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting. That's what I wanted to be, just as strong as I possibly could, pound for pound at the time. And that's what I was obsessed with. And it was funny. I had this crazy good physique, but I couldn't see it. And so my only goal was as strong as I could be pound for pound because I couldn't measure that, but my physique was objective or subjective. And I remember in the wintertime when I was 16, I watched Pumping Iron. And that's whenever I wanted to become a bodybuilder, put on muscle. I still had the goal of becoming as strong as I could be, pound for pound. But yeah, I wanted to put on muscle too, which I already was putting on a lot of muscle. I just didn't realize it. But that's whenever I started posing, taking some pictures, stuff like that. Whenever I was 16, I wish I tracked everything earlier. I just was like, oh, it's not impressive. That's what I thought. But yeah, by 16, I was, benching 300 and weighing like low 160s and stuff like that. And by 17, middle of 17 was went around 175, benching 350, twice my body weight, 275 for reps on incline, all sorts of stuff. Um, and I was dunking, became an doing backflip fulls, maybe 40 something inch vertical. It was that was my focus. That was my passion. Become the craziest athlete, as strong as I can be, pound for pound, get a crazy physique, and I did that. I really did. Um, People everywhere I went, it was comments about my physique. Everybody wanted to see it. Everybody was like, "Wow!" When I'd walk, people look at my legs. I really cared about my leg growth at that time. Now I just maintain it to keep it proportional with my body, because my quads would grow so fast. But yeah, people would always look at my legs. They'd be like, "Wow," because you could see the bottom of it in the shorts, like teardrop. Wow. And I could have went really far with sports, but like I said, that was still in that mentality at the time, which I'm glad I grew out of that. That everything by myself, everything by myself, me. I'm glad I grew out of that, but I understand why that happened at the time for me. But yeah, I really used that to hone in, to lock in, and say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become great. Um, but yeah, that's some of my backstory. Always wanted to get big on social media. I had these posts where I looked crazy, but I didn't understand social media. I had a great physique, but I didn't understand social media. Um, that's a topic that could be for a different day. But yeah, that's what's really got me into working out. By the way, I'm 23, almost 24 now. Been training people for a long time, and that was one of the things when I was younger. I was really smart when I was younger. I was always like I was in a gifted program, and remember I used to go down to college for math over the summer, and I passed the college math course, and it was the literal difficulty of it. Even at the time, I didn't think so. Like, yes, it was. Um, but yeah, this was the avenue that I chose. I said, this is what I want to do with my life. There were a lot of avenues I could have went down, whether it was sports in college, a job including math, engineering, things like that. But I said, this is what I want to do. And I put my mind to it like I have for really anything in my life. I feel like I put my mind to it, it happened. So I'm grateful for where I am and for where lifting was able to take me to now, where I have a business that supports me and things of that nature. But really, it really got me through a tough time. And life is so much better when you are lifting, when you're in shape. And the respect you get, the attention you get, the opportunities you get are really great. And even if it isn't your life, it absolutely should be a part of your life regardless. There shouldn't be any excuses for it. So, so yeah, this was off the top of the head. Cool video. Can't wait to upload it.